So we were really getting through to a point where they were agreeing with us. So it was going well. Scrutiny process started. We had the spotlight review with over 200 people attending. 1,000 people sent in their reasons why we don't want 5G in Devon. It was all going extremely well. Next thing, the lockdown happens and everything's on hold. And so our call to action basically is to ask as many of you as possible if you could write just a small and concise email to either request that the scrutiny process is going to be resumed immediately, or that they simply ban 5G in Devon.
Would you like to raise awareness about the dangers of 5G in your local area? Get your Keep Britain 5G radiation free stickers today. For more information, contact me at www.5gawareness.com/contact.
And we'll kick things off. Great. Okay. So today we have 4 prominent activists, all from Devon, which is the first county in the UK that's gone to scrutiny in regards to banning 5G. Now, first up, we've got Charlie, who's going to summarise the steps that were taken to start the scrutiny process to ban 5G in Devon. Next up, we've got Katherine, who's an ex-councillor from Combe Martin, who will talk about towns and parish councils that have voted against 5G. Next, we've got Tere, who will talk about the 5G Wake Up campaign in Exeter and North Devon and the increase in public support for this campaign. And to finish off, we've got Rhiannon, who will give us some recent updates from the council since the lockdown and a call to action. So fire away, Charlie.
Thanks so much, John. So anybody that's watching this video, we need your support. Really, something's happened with the Devon 5G scrutiny process, and so at the end of this video, we'll have a call for action, which is one of the reasons for doing this. We've had in the southwest quite a few town councils and parish councils that have invoked the precautionary principle, and the background to Exeter City Council and Devon County Council going to the 5G scrutiny process was it sort of started over a year ago with many campaigners before that. But over a year ago, we started going to Devon County Council, to the full council meetings, to the cabinet council meetings, asking question after question and trying to inform Devon County Council councillors and the cabinet, what was happening around, the 5th generation, that was a sort of slow process, and we went month after month after month, and then finally, the county council decided to do a consultation process, and so this is an online. Asking people to put their point of view across, a call for evidence, and they were amazed that over 1,300 people, they'd never seen this before, over 1,300 people responded online to their call for evidence, giving their views on 5G, and this process carried on to actually people being asked to come into Devon County Council in Exeter, and again asking for evidence, asking for people's views, and over 200 people took the time out to actually go in to Devon County Council, talk to the councillors about what was really going on. We've also arranged meetings. We've had people speaking. We've had people like Barry Trower speaking. We've invited councillors, and they've come along and listened to different views. And this has ended up with Devon County Council, as you say, is the first county council in the UK going to their scrutiny process. And we followed a sort of a view that we are being polite, we're being courteous, and we're trying to get these councillors on side. And it's all been going well, and we've had a hitch, and it's a big hitch, and this is one of the reasons why we need We need some support, and we need people that are watching us. We need their help. Yeah.
As Charlie says, you know, Charlie organised several very successful events, one at Topsham, one at the Phoenix in Exeter, which were very well attended. And we had a snowball effect, didn't we, Charlie? More and more people waking up to the dangers of 5G. As Dr. Martin Paul said, this has got to be one of the stupidest things, the rollout of 5G in the history of the world. And several town councils and parish councils in the southwest have voted against 5G. They've followed suit from the other places in the world that are also against 5G technology, the dangers of the fifth generation radiation and microwave radiation technology. Some of the places in the UK which voted against 5G are Kingsbridge in Devon, Shepton Mallet, Totnes, Frome, Glastonbury, Wells, Winchester, further towards the southeast, Brighton, and a little place, West Monkton in Taunton, which is a parish council. And where I was councillor last year, we voted against 5G in our parish. 5 councillors voted against and 3 councillors voted to abstain. One of the most important things to understand is this is an education process. We went to the council, North Devon District Council, and the councillors were focusing on the climate change. And they didn't know a lot about 5G. And as Charlie said, you know, this is about giving out information. This is about informing people, educating people as we've gone along to the dangers of 5G. And so many people have woken up, and it's these ones, the ones who attended the meetings, the ones who realise the dangers. We are calling you to action to say, please write to these councillors at Devon County Council. We need your help to stop this rollout of this dangerous technology. Thank you.
Yeah, I think one of the things that we found out is that when councillors did their due diligence, you know, realised that there's no testing, there's no risk assessment, there's no regulations. You know, they look into the science and they know that the science is without question that this pulse, this man-made pulsed modulated microwaves cause biological harm. The science is without question. And as I say, when they do their due diligence, they realise that this is not a good thing. You know, now we've had Glastonbury with their council meeting for the last 6 months, every 2 weeks, and they've produced, you know, a fantastic 115-page report. And the mainstream or the lamestream media is desperately trying to knock that on the head. But if they can't knock the 115-page report, and councillors all over the country are beginning to look at this, you know, and amazed about actually what it is all about.
That's right. Lack of independent biological testing, and the fact that Lloyd's of London have refused to cover any health effects from 5G technology. Over to you, Tere.
Okay, yeah, I'd like to share about our raising public awareness to the dangers of 5G. One of our local campaigners instigated a wake-up campaign, and we'd booked 12 weeks on Exeter High Street. We had an information stall where we were handing out seed leaflets which contained research websites and links to YouTube videos by eminent experts in different fields, all relating to microwave radiation and radiation EMFs in all frequencies. Also, we had some folders on our stand with peer-reviewed studies so people could actually reference what we were saying. and they could go into that in detail, and a lot of people actually took photographs of those documents to take home to research further. We also doubled the numbers on our mailing list because people had no idea of what was actually going on. The dangers of 5G haven't been in the mainstream media at all, and some people were so surprised to hear what was actually being proposed with the rollout of 5G. Other people had some knowledge of the proposals with 5G, thinking it was just faster downloads and that was as far as it went. So they were very surprised also with the detail that we could tell them. And what was so lovely was the interest we had was from all age groups. So it was from young people all the way through to the more elderly people. And the interest that they showed, the questions that they asked. And in fact, some of them were so knowledgeable that they were informing us about the research that they'd already done themselves. So all in all, it was such an amazing campaign. As I say, we'd had it originally booked for 12 weeks. And because it had been so successful, we'd agreed that we would all carry on for a further 12 weeks during the summer period. But obviously, since lockdown, we had to stop at week 10, which was a real shame for us. Also, there was awareness raising in North Devon by Katherine and her team, who were there every week, doing exactly the same thing. And the numbers of people that were just coming and crossing the road to us, people were actually physically coming across the road to talk to us. And they just wanted to know more because there's nothing in the mainstream media. There were young families there where parents were really concerned about the detrimental health effects on their children. Pregnant women who were concerned about their own health and that of their fetus. There were elderly people, people who already obviously had some sort of disability or underlying health condition came across to talk to us. And some people just spent enough time to take a leaflet to take away to do their own research, and others spent considerable time. We had people sit with us for hours sometimes, talking, just wanting to know more and more all the time. What could they do to help? How could they help us? Where can they go to get further information? Because people are just thirsty for knowledge. They just want to know the truth because they haven't been told it. So yes, if you're watching this little video, please lend your support. Ask the Devon councillors. Ask them to call back the scrutiny process. Ask them to restart it now as a matter of urgency. And we really appreciate any help any of you can give to us.
And just to add to what you were saying, Terry, those people who are watching this for the first time, or those people who are asking, where can I find this information? You've got lots of different websites. You've got the Bioinitiative report. You've got the Lancet article. I've linked to all of these on my website, 5gawareness.com. And then Barry Trower is also a fantastic source of information. And I've got all of his documentation on the downloads page on my website, 5gawareness.com. There's also the Environmental Health Trust. And there's also a video, Dr. Sarah Starkey, who has analyzed ICNIRP and the financial links with the telecommunications industry, with PHE, with ICNIRP, and there's also some documentation on ICNIRP on the downloads page among the Barry Trower files.
And there's Dr. Sarah Starkey's report to Parliament, informing Parliament of the dangers of electromagnetic frequencies on children. And other members of Parliament also have been and spoken and talked about the effects of radiation on people who are electrosensitive and the environment. So government do know.
Yep, and the US government, of course, conducted the National Toxicology Program study, which is another heavily financed study, which showed a lot of very damaging research conducted on rodents from damage from microwave radiation. So yeah, I'd like to hand it over to you. Go on, Charlie.
Yeah, and also the Ramanzini study in Italy, which was a massive European study that also showed biological harm, at rates a lot lower than the National Toxicology Program. But, the councillors have been we've told them about this, we've informed them, we've emailed them, we've told them about when we took the space appeal to Downing Street, that now has 270,000 signatures from 152 countries. that that all want to stop this rollout of 5G. And since we have been in lockdown or locked up, we are seeing very much an organised rollout of these masts and 5G at pace. And so what has happened, and Rhiannon's just about to say what has actually happened, is really, it's really disgusting and upsetting after all the work that we've done, for them to do this when we can't meet together, when we can't campaign, when we are locked in our houses. And that's why we're asking for a call to action from you guys that are watching this.
And when this rollout is such an urgent threat to us all.
Go on, Rhiannon.
Yeah, so basically for a year where we're having ongoing progress, and we went to the council at least once a month, sometimes 50 of us went, about 13 asking questions, the rest being there for support. Sometimes we're a smaller group, but we went every month to ask questions about 5G and to inform them, to give small presentations, and it was starting to be very successful. One of the councillors then, in one of the responses, the written responses to our questions, wrote like a long response where he fully acknowledged the detrimental effect of 5G radiation to bees, pollinators, wildlife. So we were really getting through to a point where they were agreeing with us. So it was going well. Scrutiny process started. We had the spotlight review with over 200 people attending. 1,000 people sent in their reasons why we don't want 5G in Devon. It was all going extremely well. Next thing, the lockdown happens and everything's on hold. So what basically happened was we emailed Devon County Council and asked, what's the progress, guys, with the scrutiny? What's the next stages? What are you finding? Give us an update. And then the response is the bad news, really. So the response was, the scrutiny process is on hold. We don't know yet when we can resume it. And the reason was basically the lockdown. They're now all overworked and assigned to other tasks. And also Devon County Council had received a very negative Ofsted review regarding their children's services. So they now have to be reassigned to that, and 5G is on hold. We weren't informed about this after we've gone in for a year, at least once a month. Only when we emailed in did we receive the email. And now that's why we're doing the call for action, really, because the part of the reason why it went so well up to now was there were constantly a lot of people basically contacting Devon County Council non-stop saying we don't want 5G. And through the lockdown, there's a little gap. And the moment there's no pressure, everything is on hold. And one councillor who works for another council said to me, as councillors, we can only act on a slightly controversial issue if there's a lot of pressure from a lot of people, or a lot of interest, or lots of emails, lots of contact. So basically, if a lot of us write in now, then there is, that interest visible again, because they might have thought we've all gone away and forgotten about it. And so our call to action basically is to ask as many of you as possible if you could write just a small and concise email to either request that the scrutiny process is going to be resumed immediately, or that they simply ban 5G in Devon. And ideally we'd have hundreds and hundreds of people writing in again, because that's how we were successful all along. So many of us here in Devon constantly requesting to halt the rollout of 5G or to stop it altogether. So if you could take the time, 5 minutes, to write to them, and it doesn't have to be long. We've handed in mountains of peer-reviewed studies. They've got all the studies. You don't even need to go through the effort of finding studies, attaching them. Just a small email requesting, do resume the scrutiny process as soon as possible. And that would really help us, because after all the work we've put in, we're not prepared to just give up on this. And also we're not being naive. It's not that that's all we're doing. We're of course approaching Stop 5G from other angles. As many of you know, there's now the legal action against 5G with Michael Mansfield. So we're not thinking that's all we've got to do, but we want to approach it from as many angles as possible to stop 5G.
Yep, we can stop it together. Yes. We need your help.
Yeah.
Can you give us the name of the lady who emailed you to announce
Yes.
that, and also the other names of the people who we should address?
Yes, so the lady who emailed me is Councillor Carol.Whitton. She's the chair of Scrutiny, of the Scrutiny on 5G. And then other councillors to write to are phil.norrey and john.hart. They are the chief executive and the leader of the council. And then there's another email address just for the Scrutiny Team. It would be good if the email was sent to that email address as well. And possibly if everyone could email their local district councillor as well, because our district councillors, if we request anything, they have to follow up on it. And then your local district councillor can then request the same thing from Scrutiny Team.
That's if you're from Devon. If you're not from Devon, you're very welcome to email too.
And I would say also get a meeting with your local MP whenever possible. You know, when this lockdown ends or whenever is your earliest opportunity, as many people as possible meeting with their MPs. Just
one of the reasons why, you know, we were so successful with Devon County Council next to City Council and other town councils and parish councils is because we arranged not one-on-ones, but there's 2 or 3 of us, and we met our representative and we had that personal, you know, fluffy meeting with them, where they don't know what on earth's going on. They have no idea about 5G, and we raised their awareness about what is really going on, and you know, planted the seeds, and that for us has really worked. Now, someone in Devon County Council has reassigned the 5G Scrutiny Committee to other areas. You know, it's not on.
We've made so much progress, you know, so we can't give up now. And thank you, everybody, for your time. Let's get 5G banned in Devon.